Hi, what makes a good children's movie? Wide appeal? A movie that parents actually want to take their children to? A good message, something for kids to learn from without treating them like idiots. What about just being funny? How about that huac toi? All of these are important. A good children's movie has got to do a lot of work, but there is one more aspect that has been forgotten in the past couple of years, and that is they need whimsy. What is whimsy, you may ask? Well, that's a stupid question. It's the state of being whimsical, obviously. Yeah, that's bad dictionarying, Merriam. But whimsy is important. It's that fantastical element of movies that makes anything feel possible. Dinosaurs are alive, toys can move, and you can go back to the future. It creates amazement. It makes children dream. And it's always a new twist on something, or maybe just something new altogether. But nowadays, that's just a little less important to Hollywood. Creating something new isn't important when you can just churn out the fifth movie in a successful franchise. Or at least not important to their pockets. So let's go back in time, to a time when whimsy was abundant, a time when this dumbass was still the president, to 2006 for Night at the Museum. So, quick background, real quick. Directed by Sean Levy and an adaptation of a book, Night at the Museum features a ridiculous cast of heavy hitters and comedy icons. The movie follows Ben Stiller as a divorced deadbeat struggling to stay in his kid's life. He decides it's finally time to get a real job and applies to the New York City Museum of Natural History as a security guard. Little does he know, he's in for a surprise. Motherfucking Dick Van Dyke! Seriously, how is this guy still alive? He's like super old. But with quick explanation, the new security guard finds out that his job is a little more complicated than he thought, because everything in the museum shoots to life every single night. There are dinosaurs walking around, miniatures coming to life, and so many historical figures you might just think you went back in time. See what I did there? Little callback to earlier. I know. I'm pretty cool. Some more stuff happens. Old guys are evil. Ben Stiller saves the day. His kid respects him, and some chick loves him now. I don't know. A nice little bow on top while the world is returned to the status quo, but the guard's life has done a complete 180. From that basic description, this movie might sound pretty basic and maybe a little boring. The ratings do not do anything to help it either, because critics are all hacks. But this movie made a couple hundred million worldwide and spawned two sequels, so clearly it did something right. What it did right? Circling back, clever segue, it creates a sense of whimsy. For my money, I'd say it's two main things that separate it from modern children's movies. One, the premise. And two, how it treats the audience. Let's start with the premise. Like I said earlier, the plot is pretty basic, almost cookie cutter for the mid 2000s. What helps raise this plot is an incredible starting premise that just completely differentiates it from other comparable movies. Or maybe original isn't the right word, because, like I pointed out earlier, a lot of what's in it is cherry picked concepts from more successful movies. So maybe the right word is. We're back. You know what I'm going to say. Come on with me now. Whimsy. It's fun, right? There are so many fantastical things going on in this movie, and they're all framed in such ironic ways that the audience never has the chance to get bored. The dinosaur, yeah, I mean, he's like a dog, sure. The historical figures, half of them are American, so obviously they don't speak English. The old men, well, yeah, you know that tablet thing? Well, when they have it, they turn old, so here's Dick Van Dyke kicking ass. This is all very fun and it's important because the constant stream of new ideas with fun twists keeps the movie feeling fresh the whole way through. It keeps that whimsy coming from the initial concept and it does not stop. You're always amazed. There is always something that's going to surprise you. The whimsy is alive. The premise keeps the movie alive. Something that's almost more important than that has almost been forgotten by Hollywood in recent years, though. And that's how they treat the audience. Remember, children's movies are primarily made for children, and if there is one thing children hate more than anything else, it's being treated like a kid. Kids want to be treated like adults, and even if it's fake, they tend to appreciate even the slightest amount of respect. Something movies made for children used to do often is respect their intelligence. Not all the jokes were stuff they understood, the plots were a little less happy, and things weren't always spelled out. Not only was this a way to make children think and become more engrossed in the movies, it also made it entertaining for the parents. The jokes that go over the kids' heads, well, they're for the parents. The shitty plot that seems incredible to a child is a fun popcorn flick for the parents. Having to use their heads not only makes kids feel good about themselves, but it keeps the parents from zoning out. What Night at the Museum does so well is respect that audience without forgetting to keep it entertaining, without losing the whimsy. There's still a lot of fresh things to keep the audience on their toes, but those things aren't over-explained. The jokes range from monkey pissing on guy to fucking Dick Van Dyke kicking ass. A kid doesn't know who Dick Van Dyke is. Also, again, how are you alive? To sum it all up, the movie is just good. I know, a little reductive, and might make you regret watching however long this video is, but joke's on you, loser. Making a movie for kids does not mean it has to be any worse than a movie made for anyone else. All it takes is a good story, respect for the audience, and a couple of people who want to make something good instead of just cashing a check. Just make things a little whimsical, make them fun. That's what we used to do all the time, but now, well, now I have just one question.
Why is
Whimsy.